say no one drives the old forest road after midnight. Locals whisper about shadows that follow your car, voices that call your name from the trees, and headlights that vanish without a trace. Most dismiss it as just another ghost story, until someone you know never comes back. I learned this the hard way on the night I took that road alone. They say no one drives the old mill road after midnight. Locals whisper about shadows that chase your car, voices that call your name from the trees, and headlights that vanish without a trace. Most dismiss it as just another ghost story, until someone you know never comes back. I learned this the hard way on the night I took that road alone. It was nearly 1 a.m. when I left my friend Ryan's wedding. The reception had run late, and I was exhausted. The GPS kept suggesting I take the highway, but that meant an extra 40 minutes. I remembered hearing about a shortcut, an old road cutting straight through the woods. I figured, why not? A little quicker, a little darker, but harmless. Or so I thought. The deeper I drove, the quieter it became. No other cars, no streetlights, nothing but the glare of my headlights bouncing off the endless trees. The road felt tighter, narrower, as if the forest was closing in around me. I kept telling myself it was just an old road, nothing strange about it. But then I saw her. A woman stood on the side of the road, wearing a long white dress, her hair covering most of her face. My stomach dropped. Who would be standing out here at this hour? I slowed down, rolling past cautiously, but the moment my headlights lit her figure, she was gone. I gripped the wheel tighter, sweat gathering in my palms. My first thought was that I was imagining things, that maybe I was just tired. But then a sour, rotting smell filled the car, thick enough to make me gag. I rolled down the window for air, but the smell only grew stronger. That's when the radio clicked on. I hadn't touched it. Static filled the speakers, and through the static, a faint voice whispered. The words were broken, stretched, but clear enough to make my skin crawl. You shouldn't be here. I froze. My eyes darted to the dashboard, my hands were nowhere near the controls. The radio buzzed again, the same voice, louder this time. Turn back before it's too late. My breathing grew shallow, every instinct in me screaming to slam the brakes and turn around. But something stopped me. A cold heaviness, like someone else's hand was pressing down on mine, keeping me from moving. And then, the worst moment of all. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught movement in the rearview mirror. Slowly, I turned my head to look, and my heart nearly stopped. The woman in the white dress was sitting in the back seat. Her pale face leaned forward, eyes hollow, mouth twisted into a lifeless grin as she whispered, "Keep driving." My heart slammed against my ribs as the woman's whisper echoed inside the car. I jerked the wheel, desperate to pull over, but the steering felt locked frozen in place. My foot slammed the brake pedal, but it sank uselessly to the floor. The car kept moving, smooth and steady, as if under someone else's control. The woman in the back seat hadn't moved. She sat stiffly, her white dress glowing faintly in the dim light, her eyes fixed on me through the mirror. Every second felt like an eternity. I forced myself not to blink, not to look away, but when I finally did, she was gone. I gasped for air, gripping the wheel until my knuckles went white. "This isn't real," I muttered. "I'm just tired. I'm imagining things." But deep down, I knew better. The woods outside seemed alive now. In the corner of my vision, shadows darted between the trees, moving faster than my headlights could follow. My gut twisted as I realized they weren't running past my car. They were running with it. I pressed harder on the accelerator, hoping speed would break me free, but the engine roared without my control. Every curve of the road looked unfamiliar, yet somehow endless. My GPS froze, the screen glowing white, the little arrow spinning in place as if it had no idea where I was. Then, in that dizzying confusion, a memory struck me. When I was a kid, my grandfather used to tell a story about this road. He'd say, "Those who take Old Mill Road after midnight never see the sunrise. The forest takes them in, and the road never lets them go." At the time, I'd laughed it off as a ghost tale. Now, his words clawed at my brain. Suddenly, the car lurched as if it had hit something. My headlights flared against a shape, blocking the road ahead. I slammed my hands uselessly against the brakes, but the car slowed on its own, rolling to a crawl. In front of me sat a burned-out car, its frame blackened, its windows melted from fire. The sight was horrific enough, but what froze me in place was movement inside. Through the cracked glass, figures shifted. Charred, skeletal bodies, their blackened jaws opening and closing as if still screaming in pain. Their heads turned toward me in perfect unison. "No," I whispered, shaking my head violently. "No, this can't be real." The smell of burnt flesh seeped through the vents, filling my nose, choking me. The figures pressed their hands against the inside of the ruined car windows. Even without eyes, I could feel their gaze burning through me. And then one of them lifted a bony, blackened finger and pointed directly at me. The radio shrieked to life, the same distorted voice, but now deafening, screaming words that made my blood run cold. "Next is you." The voice on the radio rattled through my bones. "Next is you." My entire body went numb. The burned car ahead glowed faintly in my headlights, the charred figures inside clawing at the shattered glass. My instincts screamed at me to run, but the steering wheel refused to move. The car crept forward on its own, inching closer and closer to the wreck. "No, stop!" I shouted, slamming my fists against the dashboard. My breath fogged the windshield, my chest tightening with panic. For a moment, I thought I was going to pass out. Then everything stopped. The engine died. The lights flickered out. Silence swallowed me. I sat there in darkness, heart thundering, when I heard the faint creak of a door hinge. Slowly, the driver's side door began to open by itself. Cold air rushed in, and with it came the stink of smoke and rot. I bolted out, stumbling onto the cracked pavement. My legs shook violently, but adrenaline forced me to run. I tore into the woods, branches slashing my arms, my lungs burning with each gasp. I didn't care where I was going anywhere but that road. But the woods weren't safe. As I sprinted deeper, I noticed things scattered among the trees. Broken street signs, twisted lampposts, even half-buried license plates. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. My gut dropped. These weren't random. They were markers, remnants of everyone who'd vanished here. Then, I saw it. Between the trees, dim and flickering, stood an old wooden sign. The paint was peeling, but the words were clear. "Welcome back to Old Mill Road." I froze. My throat tightened. No matter how far I ran, I was still trapped inside the same loop. A deep rumble vibrated the ground. Behind me, headlights flared to life. My car empty, engine dead minutes ago, now rolled toward me on its own. Its radio blared louder than ever, the voice distorted, yet unmistakably human. It was my voice. "You can't leave. It's your turn now." Terror ripped through me. I turned to run, but shadows burst from the trees, dozens of them, pulling at my clothes, my skin, dragging me back toward the car. I screamed, thrashing wildly, but they were too strong. The last thing I saw before the world went black was the inside of that burned car. The figures shifted, making room. Waiting for me. Morning came. Commuters passing through Old Mill Road reported a strange sight. Another burned-out vehicle, still smoldering. Inside, police said they found no driver, no body, just a radio playing static. Witnesses swear they heard something in the static that day. A man's broken voice, whispering the same warning over and over again. "Turn back before it's too late."